Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to our weekly board session. It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. It's 9:05. We're in the Senator hearing room at 555 Court Street, Northeast in Salem. As always, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you would please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I don't have anybody signed up for public comment, so we're going to go right into our proclamation, and we're going to consider approval of a proclamation designating the week of April 20th through 24th, 2026 as Work Zone Awareness Week in Marion County, which is why we have this lovely shade of orange up here on the dais. Good morning, Lonnie.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning for the record. Lonnie Radke, Public Works.
Good morning, Scott Wilson, Public Works.
Good morning, Matthew Bathke, Public Works.
And thank you for donning your orange. We're here today to talk about 2026 National Work Zone Awareness Week, which is a very important safety initiative at Public Works and in all of the county. The reality is that over almost 900 people are killed in work zones across the country. This number comes from 2023. But as we've been proclaiming this week to be Work Zone Awareness Week for the last few years, this number continues to rise, and in fact, we are seeing work zone crashes on the trending up, on the rise in Oregon and within Marion County. And it's incredibly important to us that we recognize our teammates that are working hard out in the work zones, out amongst traffic, and do all that we can to protect them, and ask that motorists also use caution and consider, their safety and their lives that they want to get home to their families. So we appreciate that you are considering to proclaim this as Work Zone Awareness Week. A little more information: about 60% of contractors, these are nationwide stats, reported work zone crashes this last year. About 43% of highway contractors reported work zone crashes that resulted in injuries or fatalities. Unfortunately, our workers that are out there are very vulnerable and can be hurt and very easily from careless drivers. And 63% of highway worker fatalities resulted from a vehicle striking a worker. This is an example that Scott Wilson is going to talk about of one of our safety treatments that we're using more and more often in Marion County.
Great. Thank you, Lonnie. I want to highlight one of the measures that we've implemented as far as making sure we're aware and practicing work zone safety out there. These are called automated flagger assistance devices. These devices let a single user go ahead and remotely control flaggers from a safe location, reducing their exposure to traffic and creating a safer work environment for both the staff and the public. These systems are very rugged, simple to operate, and has been very well received by our crews. Because of that success, we have expanded the program and purchased additional units, so each of our 4 road maintenance districts has its own set available for daily operations. Overall, these AFADs have strengthened our safety culture, supported more efficient traffic control, and demonstrated our commitment to protecting workers and motorists. And as next week moves along, we will be featuring some little clips on social media to help kind of bring forth that awareness, and we'll go ahead and share one right now with you.
In advance, I'd like to apologize if the volume is a little bit off, but let's give this a try.
So we were flagging for the ditching crew. So that is a grade all that sits basically in the middle of the road and is sweeping dirt out of the ditch. And I was holding traffic on the northern side of Powell Prairie. Arm was down, red light on the auto flagger, and he just came around. So the auto flaggers have an alarm that I can sound. Got him to stop. So he proceeded to scream profanities at me, and I just said, I need you to back up and wait at the light, please. So he backed up, and then he pulled forward, and then he scraped down it 3 times, and the whole time just screaming at me. We had another incident too where I had a car waiting at the auto flagger, and another car came up behind, and he wasn't paying attention. I could hear them at first, and then I saw the smoke, and he came down the passenger side of my vehicle and went into the ditch. Thank God that I wasn't out there flagging, because that would have been my escape route. You know, a red light is the law in every state that you have to stop and wait at a red light. I can't count how many times I've had to jump out of the way of a vehicle that has almost hit me. Not everyone is on their phone, and not everyone's not paying attention, but everyone can have the medical emergency while driving. Anyone can be at the front of my line and have a stroke and hit the gas and run me over. That is our benefit of auto flaggers, is keeping our bodies safe. My name is Amber Kirby. I have worked for Marion County since 2008. I am a operations maintenance worker, traffic control instructor.
Yeah, so, yeah, those are some of the features and telling real stories that we're seeing out there on the road. And as you see, we do have a few members wearing orange in the back row here too, and definitely they get all the recognitions. They're the ones that are out there getting the work done. So I'm thankful that they're able to at least come out here and be able to wear some orange and get the word out. So.
I really want to commend Amber, excuse me, for doing such a great job out, everybody out in the field, but Amber did such a great job summarizing how difficult it is for our workers out there. Yeah. And thank Aaron Burt for putting together the footage to get out to the public. I don't know about you. I've seen that video a few times and it still gives me chills. And we just want to do all that we can to help everybody make it home to their families safely at night.
Yeah, big credit to Amber and Aaron. Very well done.
Thank you.
So the focus of this year's national campaign is to work on the one of NHTSA's proven countermeasures, which is to reach out to the public and boost some education on work zone safety awareness. And that's the point of the social media videos that we've done, the work that Aaron has done, and with Amber's help sharing those real world experiences. We want to get those out into the public and really drive home the message that we're asking drivers to slow down when approaching and moving through work zones, to pay attention, to put those devices down in the vehicles and really watch for our workers, and just be aware of those dynamic driving conditions that exist in work zones. And so that's what we're reaching out, in addition to a lot of the work that we've mentioned. Amber has been doing some fantastic work. State of Oregon has updated the Temporary Traffic Control Handbook to include the use of AFADs, and they've done a little bit of reorganizing how those are done, and Amber was instrumental in making sure that we develop the training and get that out to our folks who are out on work zones. So what was some of the things that we'll be doing next week in recognition of Work Zone Awareness Week? We're doing some internal work zone safety training. That's that training that I had mentioned. This year we're focusing on increasing the curriculum that we're reaching out to not only our new employees, but our existing employees as they recertify for traffic control. We're making sure that they get to know this new technology that we have, the automated flagger devices. We're asking you and the public to wear orange for Go Orange Day, and that's a week from today. That's next Wednesday. And again, with Aaron's hard work and with the participation of a lot of our employees, we'll be having those stories out on social media to be able to get the word out to the public.
Thank you. So we'd like you to consider the proclamation and then come together for a photo shoot with a number of our Public Works teammates.
Commissioner Cameron, I like your hat.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I feel like I want to go out and play baseball on Public Works team, right?
Or go hunting like Elmer Fudd.
Thank you. Where's Sam when I need him?
I can help it. Come on.
I was talking to, never mind. She's getting me off focus. I see the sheriff and the undersheriff in the back, and I know this is an education that we're trying to do, but I just wonder, and I'm just so aware every time I drive up I-5 and the Aurora interchange and all that's been going on, and trying to slow down to that 55 in there, and people are just flying by me, and I just wonder if there's an opportunity for us this summer to work with our traffic team, and obviously we're going to do everything we can to educate, but to maybe enforce some of the things that we need for safety too. So I hear them, I see them, they hear me, and I'm sure that maybe there's an opportunity to put some emphasis on that, because you know, and it's not just Marion County employees, it's state employees, it's city employees. Everybody's out there this time of year working really hard, trying to get the maintenance done, and or even private contractors, right? So it's just really important that the public, and we all know there's people out there that just blatantly ignore the rules. And it was interesting, I had this conversation with Justice Kidd last week before we were talking to him. He was in there for management update, and we talked for about 30 minutes that he cannot suspend somebody's license as long as they continue to appear. And I thought, you know, legal counsel and I were talking about this. We just have so many rules in this state that don't hold people accountable. And the traffic violations that we have and the unsafe traffic that we have, people driving, we just need to try to tighten that up with some better laws that say, yeah, Justice Kidd, you can suspend this guy, or you can put him in jail, right, because of the things that this person has been doing. So anyways, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's out there and doing this work. And I know behind the scenes, we're going to do everything we can to strengthen that accountability and hold people accountable for keeping everybody safe. So thank you.
I think the only thing, I just have a question. Lonnie and I have had this conversation. I've even talked to Scott, where private contractors are doing a lot of work during the same season as your crews. And I've come across flaggers inappropriately flagging or not flagging in spaces where flagging should occur. And the average person doesn't know what to do in that environment. One, they're, you know, interacting with an unsafe environment for themselves and also the crew. But can you just talk a little bit about what the average citizen should be doing, who they should be contacting, depending on where they are, to just share like safety situations that they are aware of?
So part of the functions of Public Works is to issue out work zone permits for private contractors that will be doing work in the right of way. And so when we hear that they're not complying with the requirements of that permit to establish proper work zone, we can then go back to our permits department, and they can reach out to that contractor and say, hey, you applied for this permit, you said that you were going to do these things, you didn't do these things, we're pulling that permit. So that is one recourse that we have for private contractors. I can tell you that in my travels out in the county, when I go to interact with some of our work crews, I've come across everything from there was a drone operator that was doing agricultural drone crop dusting, and a foggy day, and they had their equipment right out in the middle of the road. This was down near the Buena Vista Ferry, and so I actually stopped and helped them establish a traffic control zone, because that was the quickest way to protect the public. I also wanted to, Commissioner Cameron kind of mention and give some credit to Sergeant Farron with the Sheriff's Office. He and I communicate relatively often, especially this time of year when we're doing these big projects. I have some behind the scenes communications with the traffic team and also with some of the other police departments in our county to let them know that when our crews will be in their areas of operation. So both police agencies, the Sheriff's Office, and also the fire departments. We let them know that when we're going to have a work zone in their area, especially if it's going to be either a high traffic zone or an extended work area. So
Thank you.
My mother-in-law was a flagger for 25 years and was injured in an incident. And I can tell you that these people have families. This is important work. And I don't care where you have to be. It's not worth hurting someone's family member to go around their stop sign. Like, I think people need to take heed to it. And it's frustrating to watch that video. I think we've seen it before. And at no point should our employees ever feel like they're in danger to do something that benefits the public. It's really important.
And I'm glad for the shout out for the Sheriff's Office, because it's like so discourteous. Like, geez Louise. I mean, not to mention not safe, but like, who's the jerk who does that? Like, you know, it's not like Marion County is some place where like you're sitting there for hours. Like, what are we talking about here? So, yeah, I think it'd be a great thing to make sure that folks who break the law like that are held accountable.
Can we put cameras on those electronic flaggers?
They do have an option where you can do that.
We should look into that.
Agreed.
Okay.
I mean, school buses have them and city buses have them, and people need to follow the rules.
100%. Okay,
All right, Mr. Chair.
yeah.
I will make a motion to approve a proclamation designating the week of April 20th through the 24th, 2026 as Work Zone Awareness Week in Marion County.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes.
In the matter of proclaiming the week of April 20th through the 24th, 2026 as Work Zone Awareness Week in Marion County. Proclamation. This matter came before the Marion County Board of Commissioners at its regularly scheduled public meeting on April 15th, 2026. Whereas the safety of the public, including Marion County workers, contractors, and motorists, is of utmost importance to Marion County, and whereas, according to the National Work Zone Safety Information Clearinghouse, there were 818 fatal crashes and an estimated 39,000 injuries in the United States work zones in 2023. And
Whereas National Work Zone Awareness Week is an annual national safety campaign held at the start of the construction season to raise awareness for work zones and those who work in them. And whereas National Work Zone Awareness Week is used to encourage motorists to slow to posted speed limits, eliminate distractions while driving, and be watchful for roadway workers, their equipment, and vehicles in work zones. And whereas the 2026 National Work Zone Awareness Week takes place April 20th through the 24th and has a theme of Safe Actions Save Lives. And
Whereas Go Orange Day takes place on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026, and provides an opportunity to unite in wearing orange to show support for the men and women who work tirelessly to keep our roads safe. And whereas solutions to keeping everyone safe in work zones and in our roadways is our collective responsibility. And whereas Marion County Public Works is committed to the safety of the public and workers in Marion County construction work zones by prioritizing safety, raising awareness, and stressing the importance of focused and alert driving through work zones. Now therefore, it is hereby proclaimed the week of April 20th through the 24th, 2026 is Work Zone Awareness Week in Marion County. Okay.
I feel like the traffic cone should have had to have been up here the entire time. And now you get to be here for a photo. And he looks like a giant crayon from here, but I know what you're supposed to be.
You had asked me about, and I was like, I don't
Carl
see
is
him.
hiding behind the
There's
post.
a pillar here. All right, come on up.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, I know who's in that suit.
While we gather up here, I'm going to play one of the videos at the same time in the interest of time that we're going to be posting next week. So there will be
Okay.
some loud music. It's really well done. Thank you.
you know, Go Orange Day can be everything.
They don't dance and tell. You'll never see on screen. Not very pretty, but we sure know how to run the thing. Living in rooms of the past within my dreams. And you know where are these others?
In the middle. In the middle? Yeah. You're right by the traffic skirted cone. Perfect. I think it's great. I just love that you're doing it.
Turn in sideways.
That's the mascot.
Some of your kids would love this. I 100% know what you
Turn in
want.
the middle.
Like, I
Everybody's
know.
gonna turn in
I know.
towards
Sorry.
you.
You stand still and we're gonna get
There we go. Turn in sideways, guys, scoot in.
Pretend like you like each other.
You need to get in. You've got orange.
You guys ready? 3, 2, 1. Good.
Wait, can you put the sheriff on the end? Just for an image of optics of like, oh, we're gonna enforce this.
You guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Oh, that's for you.
Thank you.
Carl, don't go anywhere. You need to stand right there. John, don't go anywhere. I need this picture. Need the traffic count?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Do my arms around you guys? There we go.
I know.
3, 2, 1.
Now you can get us that 300 and then we can reshare with
I guess I broke the rules by clapping.
No, no, no. All right,
good.
that's really good. Okay, next up, we have a presentation from Willamette Workforce Partnership. Let's see,
But he's the best dad.
well, come on down. Oh, there you are, Kim. I was looking for you. Like I said, Dean.
No. This is good.
You know, music does get you going in the morning.
Yeah, for sure.
I was listening to a bit of Kids Bop on the way in today.
There you go. I know about that.
Yeah, I bet you do. Gracie loves music. When she's grumpy,
That's good.
turn it on.
There you go.
No whining,
There
just
you go.
singing.
Yep. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Kim Parker Jananis with Willamette Workforce Partnership. And I am going to turn it over to Dean Craig, our Director of Business Services, and I am thrilled to let you know that we have 2 employers with us this morning to talk about their experience with this wonderful program.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having us again. I was excited to come and chat with y'all. It was a fun time. And we're really excited today because we brought 2 of our business partners that have participated in this program, and they're going to share a little bit with you. And before I do my thing, I'm actually going to ask Jessica to do what she does, because, or talk about her thing, because she has to leave.
Okay.
So,
A
Jessica,
business owner
introduce
needing to be a
yourself.
business, I mean.
Hi, yeah. Well, I just opened our other restaurant yesterday, so I have to skedaddle and get there. My name is Jessica Cobb. I have been utilizing this program since I think its inception-ish. We opened Lively I own Lively Station on South River Road. A food truck out at Top Wire Hot Project. We do catering, and we just opened our second restaurant at Willamette Heritage Center with Lively at the Mill. Come on down. I love this program. I think it's incredibly important that we are empowering our youth to find employment. And I think within that, what I have found over these years, and I'd love to just share a couple quick stories, is that there's a lot of youth that are in poor home situations, can't find friendships, don't have physical interaction with people often, and we have been that place for them. Many of these young folks we hired when they were 14, 15, 16 years old. About 5 of them come back and work for us every single summer since they were 14, and now they're 20, 22 years old, coming back from San Francisco and Oregon State and U of O, and they are creating friendships. They go and visit each other at school, and they come together, and I can't tell you how much it warms my heart. So this has enabled us to hire more youth. I mean, not that we would have not done it in the past, but this creates a space for us to hire more. It's more challenging training youth. It's more, especially in a restaurant environment, where it's an adult environment, and making them feel safe and have a voice, you know. So one story I'm just going to share is that I was invited to Grace, her graduation. She invited me to go. And they handed out roses to the people that were impactful in their life. She handed out 2, and I got one of them. I'm gonna start crying because it really was like so impactful. And I think it's so important. The whole reason that we started Lively was to create jobs during the pandemic. And then we found Dean and then Kathy and this program that allowed us just to like continue to do more and spread more love in a different fashion than just employing adults. So thank you. I'm a crybaby. Anyway, that's where I'm at. I love this program. Thank you, everybody, Kathy, for putting this in effect, and for you guys bringing it into effect, because it does help us. It's hard to run a restaurant and be successful. So this small little bit kickback grant is really helpful.
Thanks for sharing your heart.
Yeah.
for your work.
Before you move on, because you
Yeah.
quickly moved over the fact that you just opened your second restaurant at the Mission Mill, so
Yeah.
it's Lively at the Mill, which we've heard about.
Yeah.
And I think you should talk about it. Take the opportunity to advertise yourself while you're on the record, so we
Well,
can show
we're
up and have lunch there.
Yes, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. We will eventually open for brunch on Sundays. But yeah, I also just, another plug, I think it's so important for us as a community to come together, especially right now. And that was a huge driver for us to go into this location. It's a really amazing historical monument, I guess, in Salem that we are going to have great partnerships with and hopefully generate more economy into Salem. I think I come from the hospitality world in Chicago and Portland, and when I came here, that was kind of a glaring issue, in my opinion, that we were not bringing in outside folks. Like, we can only generate so much money in our own economy, right? We need people to come in.
Yeah.
And so the thought was if we could create space in Lively and be something a little bit different and bring a smiling face to people when they come in, that would then generate people. And I was at the mill yesterday, and a woman from Norway was visiting family, and she had gone to Lively the night before, happened to run into us at the mill, and was like, wow, what a fun experience. So I do think that helps, and then it helps with job growth and all of those things. So anyways, yes, 10 to 4.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday through Saturday. Yes.
So appreciate anybody who's in the hospitality industry, as one who, I always tell people how to make a small fortune in the restaurant business is start with a large one, because it's a tough business.
The only way.
Yeah.
The only way.
What, are you friends with my daughter,
Yes,
Brianne?
very good friends.
I sent her a
Yep.
picture of you being here this morning.
Yes.
And I'm live right around the corner, and it's great that you're open on Mondays when the club is closed
Yep.
on Mondays. So it's really great to see you be successful.
Thank you.
You and your husband both, and it's always friendly, and the food is fabulous. So if you haven't been there, great brunches on the weekends. We love it. Right, brunch
It
menus.
sounds like you didn't grow up around here.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Brianne and I were, I mean, I
You
think
did grow up.
it's
Oh,
from
okay.
like third, fourth grade.
Sprague,
when you guys-
yeah.
Sprague all the way
Yeah.
through.
Oh.
Yeah. I left and I came back,
Oh,
and
okay.
and circled wagon back, yeah.
Run our thing for a little while.
Yeah.
Thanks for hiring youth.
Yes,
And
thank you.
teaching them. That's really
Yeah.
important.
Thank
The
you.
value of money, the value of work, I mean, that just gives them hope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you so much, Dean. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Love it when they come and speak, because it takes up my time and I don't have to talk as much. I don't think I introduced myself. I'm Dean Craig, the Director of Business Services at Willamette Workforce Partnership. And we're going to go over a brief slide show today, very short, and then we're going to ask Justin to tell his story, which is also inspiring. This is the flyer we've used for a while now. This is the area, and you can see some of the stores have gotten bigger because we've employed more kids in some areas where we had less before. So these are all the locations where youth have employed around the county. These are some direct quotes that Kathy has garnered from her interviews with youth. And I think this is probably, of our slides, the most impactful one. Some of the things that the kids have learned just by working, to me, this is the most important part of what we're doing here, is helping them understand the value of work and how a paycheck works, and the value, as you can see here, of being on time and being counted on. These are big deals that I'm really excited that she captured these things. We haven't figured out a good quantifiable way to measure the success, because I don't know how to put a number to this.
Well, if they keep getting hired, that might be it.
That's one, yeah.
I mean, serious.
Yeah, exactly. Our investment, your investment, 9,562.10 hours, $47,000 plus almost $48,000, 50 youth employed, 18 different employers during this contract season. We're really pretty excited about this summer season. I'm hearing a lot of good buzz about it, so really excited to kick off. And you already heard from Jessica. Justin?
Hello, my name is Justin Briley. I work for Camp Dakota Family Camping and Adventures. We also started this program a couple years ago when it popped up. We always have, since at least I've been in the last 15 years, been hiring local, and we can go as young as 16. I don't want to only hire 16-year-olds. I like to
Would you
hire
turn your microphone on, please? Sorry.
push.
It's tricky.
More
You're
better?
not- You're not the only one.
Light is on, then it is working.
All right, fantastic. So anyway, we'll hire from 16 up from there. Many of our, especially local, our students are kind of late high school, early university students, and sometimes it is their first job. And so we kind of do that whole rigmarole of teaching people to do literally everything. It's the story I often tell, but I don't know how many times I've taught someone how to sweep, how to use a broom, because that's not something they've never done before. And then to go off of all the things that were in the presentation, showing up to work on time, learning how to communicate with each other, with other coworkers. What happens when, what happens when they call in sick? What happens when one of your coworkers calls in sick and you have to work that a little bit harder? Oh, there are consequences to when I do those things, and those are all kind of good, actionable things that we can do. It's hard to put a number to a lot of those different things. I have a list of names. These are all people who started with us as their first job and have then moved up through the workforce. We had started with Cody Goebbels. He worked for us and then went on to the Sheriff's Department. His younger brother, Dustin, also worked for us as the first job.
Sheriff is very appreciative over there.
Top of the list. His brother, Dustin, who went to Linfield and got his nursing degree. Lainey Brown started with us. She went into law enforcement through the Army and was doing that. Christian Russell works for a corrections officer at Lynn County. We had a couple, both Zachary Jabin and Gage Briers, who work within our own industry, kind of doing tree stuff, but again, kind of local, traveling all over the place. Jacob Jones, who again just lived a mile down the road from us and started because it was a local job. Worked for, I believe, started with K&E and is now a journeyman heavy equipment operator. We've got Andrew Peterson, who again started just, he's one of those that when he starts and he's 16 and you teach him how to work and he does an okay enough job that we can keep going, and then the next year when he comes back, you see the growth. You see that oh, you want to come back and you are doing a better job now because of this. Again, went into the Army because of that. Michaela Howe, who is a teacher in the Salem-Keizer School District. I have Zach Lundgren, who's a field tech for Northwest Natural. So these are all people who started with us as first job, either 16 to 18. Another one, she's on my list, Grace Nelzine. She works as a teacher now for the Molalla School District. She started at 16. She said, I don't like people. I don't want to work. I want to do the jobs that, I want to clean. That's fine. I want to do that stuff. Great, cool. We need that. Let's teach you. We go through the whole process. We train. She comes to us halfway through the season, and she says, on my way home last night, I was driving down the road, and I passed a car, and the person that was driving past me waved, and I waved back. What was that? And now, again, she's a teacher. She's grown through that. So it's fun for us to have that, to see those stories, to see that people who can start with us, who can learn to work, who can work well, and then can kind of pass on and do more with that.
Do you want to just share, for people that might not know, I mean, I'm very familiar with Camp Dakota, but what it is?
Absolutely. So we're a campground and adventure park. So a campground that's open to the public. So anyone can come and camp with us. It's not for any specific grouping or anything like that. So when you and your family say, let's go camping for the weekend, this is the place you go. While you're there, there's then stuff to do. We have zip lines, we have paintball, we have archery. There's a bunch of different activities for you and your family, you and your friends to participate in. It's like a summer camp in that there's stuff to do, but again, it's just a camper, and you go and you make s'mores and you hang out and you camp. It's a lot of fun.
And for those that don't like tents, you have yurts.
We have yurts. You can bring RVs. There's cabin tents.
It's a great place.
Teepees, yeah. And we try to make it accessible for everyone. Our motto is challenge yourself, and challenge yourself means everything. For some people, coming up and going on the zip lines and being 50 feet in the air and doing something, that's the challenge. For some people, it's being where there's no cell phone service and where there's bugs and where you have to use a porta potty. That's the challenge, right? And so we can accommodate all those different things. That's challenge yourself. Come to us to do that.
That's great. That's great. Well, I love your passion for the students and the young people that you've brought on, and how proud you are for what they're doing after they leave your place. Obviously, you're passionate about your work. You're passionate about Camp Dakota. But I just, because I think about this, like, I would never want to be in a situation where I'm mad if somebody works with me for a while, gains skills, is successful, and then goes on and serves the community somewhere else. I mean, for me, it's like we're we're bigger than, as much as I love Marion County Inc., the 1,600 employees who work here. I like, Marion County, the macro Marion County, right? So to the extent that people are successful here and then go on and do good things, that's a wonderful thing. And so I love that you have that attitude. You have that attitude of really proud of our work, really passionate about it, really proud of the people who have worked with us in the past, and really proud of what they're doing in other parts of the county and in other parts of the country. So I just think that's a great attitude, and I appreciate you for having that.
Well, thank you. And it's truly a lot of fun to keep in touch and to what are you doing now? Oh my gosh, that's what you're up to now. And I remember when, and we can have those kind of fun little throwback stories. And yeah, but that's not where I am now. Great. Man, we moved forward, right? That's awesome.
Good for you.
That's how you measure it. I mean,
That's my measure.
That's really how you measure this, is that at that age, you just really give people a chance to open up and grow. And there's something about the value of work that teaches us. We're created to work, and then the value of money and a paycheck. And I was just looking at the numbers you put up there, and that's less than $1,000 per youth. And you think about that, and I was sitting here about our economic development funds and what we could do if, and I think of some of the youth that we see around here, if we could get those youth into doing something and earning a paycheck.
There's some thoughts I'd love to visit with you about.
I just think that there's such a value. How do I want to say this? There's a value in the future for those youth, but there's also a cost right now that would be avoided
For sure.
by having youth in these types of programs where they actually get out there and work.
Quite likely more than $1,000 per youth.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt,
Oh, yeah.
right, yeah.
The ROI is massive.
The ROI on this is huge,
human
right? And I know we need data, I know that's important, but the data to me is the stories you just told about those youth that went on and did all kinds of really great things. Law enforcement, teaching, whatever. And at 16, they didn't have the confidence. They didn't, right? I don't know how to even, get up on time and go to work, and those are the types of things that really pay dividends in the future for our society. And, I'm looking at the sheriffs back there, and, it's just avoidance of things that, without that hope, without that skill set, I go this other direction. So thank you.
Can I just add, just because I appreciate the conversation, but from my perspective, it's the lack of adult investment in these youth and seeing them for the value that they offer the world. And this is an opportunity that I believe this commission takes very seriously, and I'm glad that you said yes to it, because while every kid that you listed off, in fact, I know like 3/4 of them, which makes me feel like this county is very small. They come from pretty standard, decent spaces. But there's a lot of youth that I'm hoping we catch that don't, the ones that Commissioner Cameron is describing. And how do we help them make the connection so they can interact with an employer that treats them like family and follows them into their life and creates stability, which is what you're doing? That's the point of this for me. It's not just about helping employers. That's important. This is about stabilizing a community and helping people find their space in it, and we need to do more of that. Listening to this conversation makes me think that we need to invest some money into filming these youth and listening to them and sharing their story to encourage employers to engage. So in a conversation near you, I will convince this body to figure that out, because it is important to me that I wrote down state of the county should be a priority to focus on the economy in 2027, and this is a way to kind of springboard that, I believe.
One of the things I was thinking about, I know we've had this conversation of your first job, and I remember there's just this natural human experience of having to go do 40 hours of work seems like a lot of work. Now if somebody gives me 40 hours of work, I feel like I'm on vacation. But to have to show up every day, on time. I remember, being a young person in my first job, and I was like, man, this is onerous. This is oppressive. This is sort of. But what I think is super life-giving, super important for humans, is this experience of providing value in the world, right? Doing good in the world, and then this experience of seeing that value recognized, right? I mean, I remember having both sort of experiences of like, I think I am supposed to go do something good in the world. I'm supposed to provide some value in the world. And then, but I was afraid to ask people to pay me for it, right? There's
Yeah.
this sort of like,
Until you sit on a bucket and collect 50 pounds of blueberries, and then you expect a paycheck at the end.
that's it.
My first job.
Yeah, that sort of experience of like,
They didn't pay me to get strawberries when I was a kid. Blueberries, on the other hand,
Probably ate more than you pitched.
I don't think so. I had to survive, sir. But I'm telling you, it's a terrible job, and I love the people that do it.
but I think that experience of like, no, not that someone should pay me for it, but that my work has value.
Yeah.
Real value, tangible value. It's a just thing for me to get paid for my work. You know, I'm not begging, or I'm not, I think there's something very affirming to a human to have that experience of I did good work,
They earned it.
it's valuable, I earned this money, right? That it.
Totally agree.
I think that's a really, to your point about kind of work being an affirming thing for people's kind of psychological health.
Justin, are you partners with Jen and?
Yeah, John, Jennifer Weslow.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got the connection.
Of course you do.
I've hung out with them a few times up at Detroit and, yeah, on their boat, or on my boat, yeah.
They're great people.
Just jump in.
I just want to make a couple of comments. This whole program has sort of morphed since the original investment, and I like data. I think this is the best data. I totally agree with what you're saying, but I just want you to know we are continuing to make attempts at gathering data after the youth have exited the program. It's a challenge because once they're gone, unless they have, incredible connections with employers. But that is part of the program that we are continuing to sort of focus on and capture in some way, shape, or form. And then the other thing I will say, just sort of academically and administratively, is for you, this is a fantastic investment because the way we are paying for the majority of the administration is with other funds. So our federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act dollars pay for much of the staffing for the program, which is part of the benefit and part of the return on that investment. But I think it was you, Commissioner Willis, that mentioned the return on investment. And I think not only are we impacting these lives, which is the whole point, but when you think about investment of public money, we are doing a really fantastic job of braiding these funds and leveraging local dollars with federal investment as well.
That's great.
And to bring it full circle, to the extent that our local businesses do well, they grow, they expand, and they pay more property taxes to help fund
So that you can reinvest
public
in
goods and
this program.
services, right? Yeah, no, I mean, this is, I think this is an important concept. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, I'm on a roll here, but do we have a good connection with CTE programs and employers who are hiring some of those youth that are coming out of the CTE programs?
We have some good connections. We're about to have much better ones. I will be at the Oregon ACTE conference at the end of the month, presenting on Oregon employability skills and some other things, and the workforce integration. And several of the employers I've already heard, or teachers rather, want to talk to me about how to connect better with their employers that they work with. So
Great.
We're excited about that. We do work with some. I'm on a couple of advisory boards for CTE programs that those employers, some of them are apprehensive still, so we're having to work on them. But they see the value, they just don't know how to get around some of the tape.
Okay.
And I would just add, that's a constant challenge and opportunity.
Yeah.
And not in Marion County, but tomorrow in Lynn County, Lynn Benton Community College is having a CTE signing day, much like, you sign to go to college and play football, only you're signing to go to college and enter a CTE program. And I'm actually going to be speaking at that event tomorrow night. So any opportunity we have to make those connections, we work to do. But there's a lot of opportunity to make it better.
Yes,
Thank you.
for sure.
Okay,
That was it.
that was it. That was pretty good. I've seen much worse presentations in this room than the one you just gave. So.
Hopefully
Good
not
job.
from us.
No, not.
Thank you for what you do
Yeah.
and for taking this on.
I'm proud of the employers we get to work with. These guys are great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Well,
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you very
you.
much.
being here.
Yeah.
Okay, we will move on to our consent agenda. Commissioner Bethel, I think it's your turn.
Yes, sir. All right, I move to approve the consent agenda under Health and Human Services, approve the lease agreement with the Oregon State Hospital in the amount of $125,000 for the lease of Cottage R03, located on Greenway Drive, Northeast in Salem, Oregon, on the OSH campus for operations of the Horizon House program retroactive to September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2030. And approve the lease agreement with the Oregon State Hospital in the amount of $120,000 for the lease of Cottage R14, located on 24th Place Northeast in Salem, on the OSH campus for operations of the Stepping Stones program retroactive to September 1st, 2025 through August 31st, 2030. And under Information Technology, approve a sole source procurement for the county's existing Enterprise Geographic Information Systems platform. Under the Tax Office, approve orders for a property tax refund for the following: the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians tax account 338290 in the amount of $26,056.29, and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians tax account 524719 in the amount of $64,026.59.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Okay, and next up, we have John Speckman. We're going to consider the adoption of an administrative ordinance for zone change partition case number 25-005, Roger and Jenny Penna.
Good morning, Commissioners.
For the record, this is John Speckman with Marion County Planning. I'm here to ask that you consider the adoption of an administrative ordinance granting zone change partition 25-005.
Could you turn your microphone on, please? Thank you.
My bad.
No worries.
Good morning again, Commissioners. So the Marion County Hearings Officer held a duly noticed hearing on the application on February 19th, 2026, and issued a decision on March 3rd, 2026, approving zone change partition 25-005. The board received the decision and held the application for the mandatory appeal period. No appeals were received. The ordinance and findings have been prepared, and notice of adoption was given on April 8th, 2026. The administrative ordinance is now set for formal adoption. The zone is changing from urban transition to single family and will match the underlying existing developing residential plan designation. Unless there is an appeal, the zoning code provides that the board does not have to hold a hearing on this request because it is for a zone change only. The underlying comprehensive plan designation of developing residential is not changing. And so the requested action from staff is to adopt the ordinance as written, but alternative motions would be to remand the matter back to the hearings officer or decline to adopt the ordinance as written. And I can stand for any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for John?
This already went to the hearings officer, right?
Correct.
And there was no opposition there, and they approved it. The hearings officer approved it.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if you're ready, I'll make a motion.
Yep, ready.
I move that we adopt an administrative ordinance zone change partition case number 25-005, Roger and Penny Pena.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Okay. We have one more item. We're going to consider the ratification of the new Marion County Sheriff Sergeants Association collective bargaining agreement for July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. Hey.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I feel bad. It feels like the room kind of emptied. It's no more
It's
safety,
not
no
because
more
of you.
kids,
Don't worry.
Kids' jobs. I just have a sergeant contract for you. For the record,
First of its kind, though.
it is. For the record, my name is Jeremy Landers. I'm the undersheriff for the Marion County. I'm here to present the proposed contract for consideration of ratification for the Marion County Sheriff Sergeants Association. As referenced by Commissioner Bethel, it is a first-time contract with this bargaining unit. The term of the contract spans from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. It's been quite the process to get to where we are today. Some of the key provisions from this contract are that it will move them from exempt employees to a non-exempt status, which means They'll become an hourly employee and overtime eligible. In Article 12, Section 1, you're going to see health insurance contributions. They'll move them from their existing plan to a 95-5 split of the employer-paid premium, something we commonly refer to as an MCLE plan. That would become effective on January 1 of 2027. Their retirement provisions in Article 12, they currently receive a 2.5% contribution to the 401k. Under this plan or under this proposed contract, there would be the implementation of a 401a, and they'd receive a 2.5% contribution there in lieu of the 401k. The cost of living increases in this contract include a 4% that is retroactive back to July 1, 2024, and a 3% cost of living increase retroactive to July 1, 2025. In Article 14, there are incentives that are included there, which have a financial component. It includes the addition of a 3% incentive for an intermediate DPSST certification. The DPSST, that's the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training. That's the certifying body for police certification in the state of Oregon. Article 14 incentives has the addition of a 5% incentive pay for bilingual, includes Spanish, Russian, and American Sign Language. Moving ahead to Section 5 of Article 14, there's a 5% hour-for-hour incentive for crash team and SWAT team callouts. It's limited to when they're acting in those capacities. Article 14, Section 6 has a 5% incentive for the detective sergeant. There's only one person in that position. That's memorializing something that's been in practice. It's not a new addition. There is an education incentive that's included, adding a 2% incentive following 10 years of service with an advanced DPSST certificate, as well as an Associate of Arts degree. Article 16, this reflective of their moving to a non-exempt status. This is what gives them a 3-hour minimum of OT when called in outside of normal work hours. That would also reflect 3 hours for court appearance as well, which is covered in Article 18. Article 17, the on-call schedule. In the event we place somebody in an on-call status, meaning they have to be immediately ready to respond and be in a standby mode, they would be receiving a 5% incentive per workday for that. And last out of the key provisions in this speaks to the overtime, which I referenced at the beginning in Article 20, which makes them overtime eligible. Overall, as we look at this contract and we look at the collective financial impacts to this, we don't know what the overall impact for the health insurance change will be yet. We should know that cost in around September of this year once those rates for the next fiscal year or the next calendar year become available. The cost of the retroactive cost of living increases, the 2-year cost is estimated to be at $373,282. And there's a additional cost that's incurred for the additional PERS, police and fire liability for that time period of $112,657. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
About time.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who worked on getting this done. I know this was a very long process, and I appreciate that folks were able to come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bethel, do you have anything to add? Okay. Then I will take a motion.
All right, I move the ratification of the new Marion County Sheriff Sergeant Association Collective Bargaining Agreement for July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2026.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The motion passes. Thank you, Under Sheriff. Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss before I adjourn this meeting, Commissioners?
Going to Federal Lakes meeting in Detroit tonight.
Okay.
We'll see if I can get up there.
Tell the Army Corps
Snow.
not to drain the lake.
Oh, I did that yesterday.
We'll tell them again. until they say they're not gonna do it.
Well, it was on the news today. What's that fish that, or that thing that's, I don't know if it's a fish, Lapator or Labrador? Huh? Lamprey. It was on the news today that they just dumped a whole bunch of lamprey that were at the zoo. They've been at the zoo for 9 months. They just put them in above the dam, so now we have another.
In Detroit? I heard it's been great kokanee season so far in
I've never heard
Detroit.
of lamprey.
I also, yeah.
Yeah, it has been.
It's at
I
Bavard
talked
Dam?
to, anyways, guy that runs the convention center goes up there every week. And
Robert?
On Friday, huh?
Robert?
Yeah, thanks. Robert, and he said last week, the last time they were up there, they didn't catch kokanee, they caught Chinook.
No, cool.
You have to let them go, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, hopefully most people know the difference between a kokanee and a Chinook, because somebody had to educate me when I was out there one day.
Hopefully
So
the
are-
Army Corps doesn't drain the lake and kill hundreds of thousands of kokanee, like they did in Green
That's-
Beater.
They admitted it's gonna happen.
So are you saying that
Not if
this
they don't.
lamprey fish is in the Detroit Dam or?
Above the dam now.
Was it
It's
a
a-
native fish above the dam before?
That's what they said.
I've never heard of it.
And it's yeah. One more thing.
Cool.
Sergeant,
Okay.
good? Yes. Okay,
That's the real Elmer Fudd.
All right.
the real Elmer Fudd. All right.
We better get out of here.
You better.
We are adjourned.
I'm not wrong.